Sorry, I'm sweating my butt off here. I feel like a Baptist preacher. Sorry. And he rose on the third day. So Jamie XX is 1/3 of the indie rock and electronica influenced group, the XX, who, in all honesty, I am not familiar with. A lot of my friends talk about them. I know that from what I've heard, they're a pretty decent band and really changing some of the landscape of indie rock and garage rock for the past few years. But in all honesty, really don't know anything about them. Heard a little bit of hype behind this In Color review, and it is in a genre that I do not frequent. I do not really know too much about, but I decided to give it a listen just to try and find some new music, to try and expand my palette a little bit, and I will do my best to review it. This is an instrumental album for the most part. It's definitely more electronic music influenced, more house, more garage house. That's that UK electronic music sound. This album is definitely a prettier and more lush kind of EDM music than I think we are used to over here. We're kind of used to people like Flux Pavilion and Skrillex, Diplo, David Guetta, but this is just a little bit dreamier and a little bit more atmospheric. Jamie XX, he creates just some nice lush garage house and indie house music. A lot of very unique and fun sampling. A couple of times he kind of does a little bit of illusionary work and fools you, giving you some rhythms that you might think will go a certain way, but then the downbeats change as more instrumentation comes in and kind of fools the listener on a handful of these tracks. Most of the album is a little bit more mid-tempo. It's a little bit prettier, slower, not as punchy, but we do have a couple bangers on here, like the opening track on this thing, Gosh, and also the song I Know There Are Gonna Be Good Times, which I begrudgingly like. It has a Young Thug on this thing, and I think this is really the peak of the album. I think this song has oodles and oodles of single potential. The beat is just like a more islandy and more EDM influenced DJ Mustard beat, and Young Thug, even though the topic of which he's rapping about and singing about is a little bit juvenile, he's actually incredibly tolerable compared to other Young Thug ventures. And why do I like this song so dang much? There's also another really pretty song on here, Stranger in a Room, which has some vocals by a singer named Oliver Sim. A couple other moments where there are some sung vocals instead of just sampled vocals provided here, namely by one of the counterparts from the XX, Romy, providing two features on here on the song Seesaw, and the other one being Loud Places, I believe, which is also another song that's kind of being pushed right now by him. And in my issue with Romy's vocals, it's not that they're ugly by any means. It sounds very pleasant and very airy and kind of floats. But the problem is that it's not brought out enough, and it's kind of just very distant in the background. It almost sounds like she's just in some sort of cavernous location, just trying to holler the vocals to some audible point that they blend with the track, and you can't really make out too much. Although it's pretty, but I feel like if you're gonna have it be this faint and this, just nebulous, why even have it on the beat? Either bring it out more so we can understand what's being sung here, or just cut it out completely and put some sort of other sample or instrumentation in there. I mean, aside from Romy singing, and aside from a little bit of an annoying texture of synth on the back half of the opening track on this thing, I think overall this is, at least for what it is, this is a pretty cool little album here, and just wanted to branch out and try listening to a genre that I'm not used to, really, a genre that I don't often promote. And I'm pleased to say that I walked away with a couple songs that I really like off this thing. You know, it's not aggressive electronic music. You know, it's not like bro step, you know, or glitch hop by any means. But at the same time, it's not as slow and not as lush as maybe a John Hopkins project. It's kind of in this middle ground. It really is kind of like really hip mall music. You know, I can almost smell the denim and see the faux graffiti of some sort of clothing shop in a mall. When I listened to this, I was tempted to walk in my closet and try on corduroy pants for no reason upon listening to this thing. But again, for what it is, I think it is a pretty good release. It's definitely high quality, definitely a lot of danceable tracks on here, and really cool music to just have playing in the background for stuff, and just good music to vibe to. So overall, I'm feeling a 3 out of 5 on this thing. So that's all. Jamie XX in color. Anything else you would like me to review? Please let me know. Can't think of anything else to say here. You guys already know the deal. What?